11, another object shot down from the sky, this time over Canada. We'll tell you why the United States did it and try to explain what's going on. Plus, a Saratoga staple, the Chowder Fest, back to a one-day event in February. CBS 6's Emma Quinn tells us what makes this event important. And some heroic rescue efforts continue in Turkey, but the death toll continues to rise. We'll tell you where you can donate to help here in the capital region.
CBS 6 News starts now.
Good evening, I'm Tom Eschen. Thank you for joining us tonight. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said Saturday he ordered the takedown of an unidentified object that violated Canadian airspace. Searchers have not yet reached the unknown object shot down yesterday either, as they deal with the minus 45 temps in the area. CBS 6 News correspondent Christian Benavides reports from Miami.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau of Canada says on his order a U.S. warplane shut down an unidentified object that was flying high over northern Canada. Trudeau said NORAD Command shot down the object over the Yukon. Canadian and U.S. aircraft were scrambled, according to Trudeau, and a U.S. F-22 successfully fired at the object.
Aircraft assigned to NORAD successfully took down this high-altitude airborne object at approximately 3:41 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
On Friday, U.S. officials say President Biden gave the order for an F-22 to shoot down a separate object flying over Alaska's icy northern coast. But as investigators work this weekend to gather more information, the object's origin and purpose remains a mystery.
We do not know who owns it, whether it's state-owned or corporate-owned or privately owned.
White House National Security Council spokesman John Kirby said the device, described as about the size of a small car, was flying at some 40,000 feet and presented a reasonable threat to the safety of civilian flights. Last Saturday, Air Force fighter jets downed the much larger suspected Chinese spy balloon off South Carolina's coast. Republican Alaska Governor Mike Dunleavy says the Chinese balloon should have been taken down much sooner. In a statement, he says there is very little margin for error. Russian territory is only a few miles away. We are the one state closest to the Korean Peninsula and China. Alaska is truly on the front lines. Christian Benavides, CBS News.
With all that in mind, the U.S. is lashing out against Beijing. The Commerce Department blacklisted 6 Chinese entities in retaliation over that suspected spy balloon. According to the federal government, the 5 companies and 1 research institute have ties to the Chinese Army aerospace program. They are now restricted from obtaining U.S. technology without government authorization. The move comes after the Chinese balloon suspected of carrying out surveillance flew over the U.S. the other week, raising political tensions between the world's 2 largest economies. Back closer to home now, a Cobleskill man was arrested after police say he was asleep at the wheel in the middle of the road. Albany police arrested 43-year-old Christopher Sumner after they say they found Sumner in his car asleep with his foot on the brake with the car in drive in the middle of a New Scotland road. They claim he was under the influence and the car had been reported stolen too. Sumner was arraigned and released. He's set to reappear in March. 2 people forced out of their home by a fire today in New Lebanon. The fire was on State Route 20 in New Lebanon. At this time, no injuries are being reported. The Red Cross is providing food, shelter, and clothing for both people impacted by the fire. The cause of the fire still under investigation. CBS 6 will bring you the details as we get them. A 2-car crash in Colony on Friday night sent a driver spinning into a telephone pole. This happened in front of the Exxon station near the intersection of Central Ave and Alta Road. 33-year-old Terso Gomez was driving east on Central Ave, while in another car, 73-year-old Thomas Cassidy was in the middle lane getting ready to make a left turn, police say. They collided, sending Gomez's vehicle into a spin, crashing into a pole on the passenger side. Police say Gomez broke several bones but doesn't appear to have any life-threatening injuries. Cassidy had no visible injury. Colony police are asking if you have any information, make sure to let them know. All right, here on this Saturday night, a time for your Weather Authority forecast. A look here at downtown Albany tonight. The lights are out and maybe some stars here tonight. Craig, we got some moonlight maybe tonight, right?
It's nice and clear out there, Tom, after what was a mostly sunny day. If you were up early enough, you had some clouds and even a couple of flurries. But afterwards, sun took over. 38 was the high, so there was a chill in the air today, especially with the breeze blowing. We're going to do a little better tomorrow in terms of temperatures. Right now, we have mid and upper 20s, stretching from Glens Falls down to Albany. Lower 20s in Hudson now, 23 degrees. So the temperatures are pretty chilly out there. They're not going to drop a lot more tonight, but another few degrees. Skies are pretty clear, too, as you can see on the satellite picture. Most of the state is looking in good shape, as is the case as you move across into western New England as well. All right, as we take a look at the forecast for the overnight period, clear skies, light winds, generally 20 to 25 degrees. Now, we are going to be bringing those temperatures up this week. In fact, later in the week, we could be looking at highs approaching the 60-degree mark. We'll talk more about that warm-up coming up in a few minutes.
Sounds like T-shirt weather here in February to me. Get your weather updates anytime with the CBS 6 Weather Authority app. Find that in your app store by searching WRGB. Well, it was a pretty nice day out there, wasn't it? And today, thousands of spectators crowded the Spa City's downtown for the annual Chowder Fest, one of the most anticipated events of the year, bringing in business and gallons of chowder. CBS 6's Emma Quinn reports tonight.
Over 80 types of chowder and a sea of people filled downtown Saratoga Springs at the 24th annual Chowder Fest.
Manhattan seafood chowder. There's clams and scallops.
So we have a Greek chowder.
The event is back to a one-day-only event. Last year, festivities lasted a whole week, feeding full bellies and filling the tip jars.
To have that cash infusion, it keeps them going. It also gives them a chance to bring in some employees that maybe haven't been getting the hours that they needed in January or early February, so it helps everyone.
Business owners say Chowder Fest helps the local economy during what is usually a slow season.
After the holidays, everything kind of slows down, and then you get that Chowder Fest, and then start to get into spring after that.
It's also a time for new businesses like Hills and Hollows and the District to make their mark on potential customers.
We're a little bit outside of town, but you know, to have this opportunity to be here and get our name out and get a little bit of exposure, it's great.
It's just great to see the participation. Very thankful for the weather that we're having today, and just seeing the people in Saratoga. It's just incredible.
Reporting in Saratoga Springs, Emma Quinn, CBS 6 News.
Well, we're also approaching Valentine's Day, but that also means we're approaching Galentine's Day for all those who observe that. The Kenmore Ballroom's first Pajamas and Prosecco drag brunch, one of those Galentine's Day events today. Performances from local drag queens with food provided, while the guests were encouraged to wear their best pajamas and enjoy the pop-up boutiques available.
For instance, we have Hot Messes and Dresses, Micropolitan Matchmakers, Nicole's Catering, DJ Truemaster, and everybody came together and truly supported my vision.
Gotta love that. Maloney went on to say this event was to welcome everyone to the ballroom and support love in its many forms. Well, a real-world application for Valentine's Day as the Albany High School Cosmetology Club held a spa day. The cosmetology and barber students cut hair, did nails, and even gave a VIP spa experience. The students were able to get experience on real people, and the community got a relaxing self-care day before Valentine's Day.
Some people might not have a lot, so to come in and like make them feel good about themselves and make them feel pretty, it really makes me happy.
It's nice. The fund from this event goes towards Albany High School field trips to future educational experiences. Well, as calls for police reform continue following the death of Tyree Nichols, another example of a black man dying in police custody unfolding in North Carolina. What the body cam footage shows from the arrests coming up next. Welcome back. Today, rescue crews pulled more survivors from the rubble in Turkey. Among those rescued, a young girl and her father who were trapped underneath debris for nearly 132 hours. It comes as Turkey's president announces a new grim milestone for the country, confirming at least 25,000 deaths. A massive 7.8 magnitude earthquake struck Turkey at neighboring Syria on Monday of this week. More than 85,000 people were injured as well. If you want to find out how to donate, the Albany Community Center is collecting donations for victims right now. Well, 2 weeks after video was released of police brutally beating Tyree Nichols in Memphis, police in North Carolina releasing footage showing the arrest of another black man who died in custody.
Now, you're gonna get tased again. Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. Now, 3, 2, 1.
This also happened in January. That video shows Darrell Williams pleading with Raleigh police officers before they tase him for a third and final time. The 32-year-old was pulled over for suspected drug use. He died at a hospital shortly after his arrest. The 6 officers involved have since been placed on administrative leave. The police department and city officials petitioned a state judge to release this footage. They say they want to maintain transparency as the department conducts an internal investigation. People in Ohio are suing a railway company after a train carrying hazardous chemicals derailed near their homes earlier this month. The lawsuit is calling on Norfolk Southern to pay for medical screenings and related care for anyone living within a 30-mile radius of the accident. The residents of East Palestine started to return home Wednesday after environmental regulators determined the air quality as safe. Man, look at that big cloud of smoke. A separate class action lawsuit was filed Tuesday accusing the rail company of failing to maintain its tracks and equipment. All right, we bring back in Craig Adams here for our look at our weather on this Saturday evening. The sun, good to see the sunshine at least. A little cooler today, but as you mentioned, looks like it's going to get warmer soon.
Yeah, you know, and we think a week ago last Saturday, we had a very cold day because it was the day after we had that big surge of Arctic air come down, and then it was gone, and
not so Arctic anymore, is it?
Not so much very winter-like at all. I mean, 38 today is chilly, but certainly for this time of the year, it is not bad. As we take a look ahead at our weather highlights, a decent day ahead for tomorrow. I think we're going to be a little warmer. Monday and Tuesday look okay too, and temperatures reach 20 degrees above normal, or perhaps even a little bit more than that as we get into the latter part of the week. Thursday is looking like a very mild day here. So something down the road as we progress onward into this week as far as temperatures go. Let's take a look at our Fraunhofer Skycam right now. We'll go into downtown Schenectady. It's 25 degrees. The winds are much lighter now than they were earlier in the day. As we check out the view from Glens Falls, the temperature 27, and heading over to Western Massachusetts, Pittsfield is 24. Let's play the time lapse from Lake George, and you can see how after those early clouds departed, it was a nice, bright day, and this was the case pretty much for the majority of the region. As you moved further west over the western fringes of the Mohawk Valley and parts of the Adirondacks heading up into the Tug Hill Plateau, there were still some lake clouds that hung around until later in the day. And thus, they were a little bit, should we say, cloudier than the rest of us were. Look at this temperature profile. We're back in the 40s. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I think Wednesday we may have a shot of hitting 50. A little conservative here thinking on my part with 48, but it's quite possible we could go to 50 or a little above, and definitely well up into the 50s, approaching that 60-degree mark on Thursday. Friday, the temperatures are going to be falling as a storm will be tracking off to the northwest and the cold front comes through. And then we're going to have a brief chill down for the start of next weekend, and then it goes right back up again as far as those temperatures go. So nothing sustainable in terms of cold air. In fact, as we look at the temperature profile taking us into the latter part of the month, temperatures are still looking highly favored to be above normal through that period. All right, here's what we have going on now. High pressure is just about on top of us, giving us a quiet night tonight, a dry day tomorrow. There's a storm that's going to be coming off the mid-Atlantic coast, but instead of coming up, it's going out to sea, and thus we'll only see some fringe high clouds from this as we work through tomorrow. We'll stay dry. I think the closest the rain might get will be down over Long Island, and even there, they're on the northern fringe of it, so it won't be much. We do have a weak front that will cross the area Monday night. That might bring a brief rain shower or snow shower, but not much expected with that. Here's a look at our hour-by-hour forecast into tomorrow. Fairly sunny overall. There'll be some high clouds mixing in as we work into the latter part of the day, and you can see some of that rain reaching Long Island, the southern New England coast. Then it quickly pulls away. Monday looking pretty good during the daytime. Then Monday evening, we may see a couple of rain and snow showers with that weak disturbance approaching. All right, here's our forecast for tomorrow. Mostly sunny, 42 to 47 for the temperatures. Here's our 7-day forecast, and it shows, well, on Monday, it'll be a dry and mild day, too. Valentine's Day, some early clouds, and then they'll thin out. Should be a pretty decent day. Breezy and mild Wednesday, we could hit 50 and close to 60 Thursday. The risk of rain is definitely going up, though, for Thursday night and Friday. And then we'll see colder weather for the start of next weekend. But again, it only looks like a short period of cold weather. Tom?
Sure does, Craig. Thank you very much. This week's top health stories revealing the roller coaster rates of cancer screenings during the pandemic. Also, some simple healthy steps that could prevent symptoms of long COVID. Bradley Blackburn reports.
Why do some people suffer long COVID symptoms and others don't? New research in JAMA Internal Medicine looks at 6 lifestyle factors: diet, exercise, not smoking, healthy weight, adequate sleep, and moderate alcohol consumption. Women who have 5 or 6 of these healthy building blocks are about half as likely to get long COVID compared to women who only have 1 or 2. An analysis of breast and lung cancer screenings finds during each COVID-19 spike, screening rates dropped starting in 2020 and continuing through early 2022. Between spikes, screening rates went back to normal levels. Delayed screenings can delay cancer diagnosis and lead to more deaths. Researchers say more work needs to be done to get screening rates back to pre-pandemic levels. And a common antibiotic could dramatically reduce the risk of death after childbirth for women in low and middle income countries. A study in the New England Journal of Medicine finds a single oral dose of azithromycin during labor lowers the risk of postpartum sepsis or mortality by 30%. Researchers say pregnancy-related infections account for 10% of maternal deaths worldwide. Those are some of the week's top health stories. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
New research could bring a therapy that helps gambling addicts. Liz Bonus has the full report on this new experimental substance. That's coming up next. Welcome back. An update now on a story we brought you this morning on the pipeline leak that interrupted the flow of gas between California and Las Vegas. Nevada Governor Joe Lombardo says the pipeline has resumed operations. Kinder Morgan, the company that operates the pipeline, said the leak was located at a Watson station in Long Beach, California. They're currently investigating the cause. Lombardo issued a state of emergency yesterday to help mitigate the impact of the leak. He says the declaration will remain in effect until fuel, transportation, and supply are fully operational. Massachusetts lobster fishers are suing for their fishing rights. The federal government closed about 200 square miles of Massachusetts Bay to protect the whales population. Whales have been getting tangled in fishing rope, endangering the whales that still return to the area. Only 340 whales still return, a number that dwindles every year. The lobster fishers argue the closure is illegal and causing economic harm. Breakthrough research on a substance now in laboratory studies could one day give us another therapy to help in the fight against gambling addiction. Medical reporter Liz Bonus explains how it works.
Hey there, everybody. This weekend's big game expected or projected to be one of the most bet on in history. For many, simply adds to the fun. But for those who feel the fun is starting to get out of control, a potential new addiction therapy may one day offer hope and help.
We don't know yet if it could be used to treat other addictions, such as alcohol.
Was 16 years old and binge drinking on the weekends, and by 18 I was full-blown, I would say, alcoholic because I could not stop.
But many say since gambling addictions can lead to feeling the way Lori Curlis did until she got clean and sober.
It took 10 years before I realized that, hey, I don't want to live anymore.
We need research to specifically address gaming addictions.
It's a massive industry, and there are all kinds of areas where that allow for easy access.
Dr. Jason Osborne is part of a research team at Miami University of Ohio. His team working to provide a potential new therapy to help people gamble responsibly. Preliminary data shows it works, at least in rats.
We have a rat casino in my lab, and it looks much like a normal casino might. It's got flashing lights, and it plays fun sounds when you win or lose. And we let our rats gamble for treats, so they get little sugar treats every time they win.
As you might imagine, the rats, according to researcher Matthew McMurray, get hooked on gaming. These are not his actual research rats. But McMurray also found, as this research from the NIH shows, a certain compound can help interrupt that. It's called psilocybin. It comes from magic mushrooms. The hallucinogenic effect is taken out. When given to the gambling-addicted rats,
it restores back levels of healthy gambling. It's not that they don't gamble at all, it's that they become normal, healthy gamblers, just like we would ideally have people do, right?
No word yet on when this team might be able to study this substance in people. I'm medical reporter Liz Bonis. Now back to you.
Okay, in sports, a buzzer beater for a local college team you gotta see. Was it the Albany women? Watch as they try to stay at the top of the America East standings. Coming up next.
And now, CBS 6 Sports, sponsored by your local upstate Chevy dealers.
Welcome back. The UAlbany women rattled off an 8-game win streak to start America East play this season before a 1-point loss to Maine at the end of January. Still good enough to be at the top of the conference heading into today against Binghamton. A 4-point win for Albany, the first time they met in January. We picked this one up 5 minutes to go. Albany up 4. Helen Hagerstrand to Grace Heaps with a hand in her face. 7-point lead for UAlbany. Heaps had 3 of those and 11 points. 11 seconds to go. The band is playing. UAlbany up 1. Needs a stop to win. Jaden Welts. Wow, what a drive inside all the way to the hole. 3 seconds to go. Binghamton the lead. Final possession for UAlbany. Kayla Cooper goes up. The buzzer goes off. She gets fouled. 2 shots for the win. 0.8 on the clock. The first ties it. 52-52. 1 more for the lead. And she misses it. To overtime we go. How about that drama? It was all, though, Great Danes in the overtime period. Lucio de Cortez for 2. UAlbany outscores Binghamton 11-1 in OT. 63-53 the final. UAlbany top the America East 11-2 in conference play. The sugar crash hitting quickly at Siena today. Watch this, how it escalates. Yeah, just lay down after all those gummy bears. The Siena women hosting Niagara. To the end we go. Angel Parker gives Niagara a 1-point lead with 4 seconds to go. Siena doesn't have any timeouts. Freshman Elisa Mavius takes the inbound pass. 3-2 from half court. It's good to win the game, but they rule no baskets. A quick review. They take another look. We'll get another look as well. Here's some confusion here at Siena today. She had 26 points. The question was, did these final 3 count? Watch the top of the clock. Did she get it off? Yes, she did. The Saints win it in thrilling fashion. They're now 10-5 in conference play. How about that? Meanwhile, on the men's side of things, a struggle for the UAlbany men this season. Bottom of the America East. On the road in Binghamton, 6:54 to play in the game. Jonathan Beagle inside. Danes a 2-point lead. Beagle at 19. Lead is 2. 30 seconds to go. UAlbany working the clock down. Aaron Radich blocked by Jacob Falco. Here comes Binghamton. Falco goes up. Foul by Gerald Drumgooley with 16 seconds to go. He'd make both free throws. So final possession for Albany. Tie game. Aaron Reddish looking to find an opening here late on the inside. Gets it. 1 second left. Can he score for the win? He cannot. We go to overtime there. And unfortunately for UAlbany, they got outscored 17-3 in overtime. They lose 80-66. That's 9 losses in a row for the Great Danes. Cotton candy. How about that? Sharing your cotton candy, really an example of love, if you can ask me, as we're so close to Valentine's Day. National Lacrosse League, Albany Firewolves at the New York Riptide. Albany down 12-4. Kieran McCardle scores there. He had a couple goals, 5 assists. Firewolves at 2-4 going into it. This part of a 7-goal run, a little BTB beauty there with 8 minutes to go. Tanner Thompson scores as a part of that big run. His only goal to go along with 4 assists. That comeback, though, would fall short today. 14-12, the final, as the Firewolves go down on the road, Craig.
You should work for ESPN. You sound like a sports guy.
No, I work here for CBS 6, and I'm loving every minute of it. You guys have been so nice to me, and I'm really enjoying it here. I love the Capital Region's great. They had the Chowder Fest in Saratoga today. The weather's been very nice. Was up in Lake George last week.
It was a pretty decent day today with that sunshine out, so we'll do better tomorrow with warmer temperatures.
See, always an improvement, and we will do better ourselves tomorrow as well. Thank you for joining us. We will see you then.